The front door thumped, and Morgan's sister Shawn appeared, wearing a robe and fuzzy purple unicorn slippers. She descended from the porch and padded out to them with 3 coffee mugs pressed between her hands. Lucky, who'd given up on his barking, trotted over to help, or possibly to get in the way, and tripped Shawn. Morgan rose to block him and help with the mugs. "Thanks, Shawn." Lucky waved his nose in the air, sniffing toward the steaming coffee. He'd never shown an interest in sampling from Morgan's mug, but milk, or knowing Shawn, cream, had turned her sister's cup a lighter shade of brown. "Dogs don't drink coffee," Morgan whispered to him. Lucky wagged, somehow managing to whack both of them with his tail. The breed standard was to have the tail partially docked, so it was less likely to be damaged during hunting, but Morgan hadn't wanted to have that done since it seemed cruel. Sometimes she wondered if the docking was preferred less because of hunting and more because Vizsla owners didn't want their wine glasses, coffee mugs, and cans of soda knocked on the floor every time their dog wandered through the living room. "I did not know if your roommate would wish a mug." Shawn glanced toward the apartment above the barn. "But there's more coffee in the pot if he does." "Do werewolves like coffee?" Wendy wrinkled her nose, as if that were a strange thought. "He's a perfectly normal human being when he's not in his furry form," Morgan said. Though that wasn't entirely true. Amar had admitted that he had sharper-than-average hearing and a keen sense of smell even when he stood as a man. Based on the fights she'd seen him survive, and the ropey muscles that were always on display when he wore nothing but a leather vest over his torso, she suspected he was stronger than typical, too. He was definitely sexier than typical. Morgan smiled into her mug as she took a sip. "I'm not sure I'd call him normal," Wendy whispered. "He's very ferocious, and he glowers at me a lot." "Do men not typically glower at you?" Morgan asked. "No, I'm super cute." Wendy grinned at them. With her freckles, brunette hair and pigtails, and daisies painted on her toenails, that was a fair assessment. "I don't know why he would glower. It's a mystery." Shawn sighed and looked at the sky, as if discussions of physical beauty and normality were beneath her. "Speaking of mysteries, why is there a basket full of berries, toadstools, and twigs on the counter next to the coffee pot, Morgan? If it's supposed to be potpourri, it's musty." "If it were potpourri, it would be in the first-floor bathroom that the werewolf contractors were using while they did their work." "Gross. They're done now, right?" "I think so," Morgan said. "I've got refinished hardwood floors, a roof that doesn't leak, and a deck with a hot tub and outdoor kitchen. I can't imagine what else this house could need." Morgan hadn't even asked for the deck or outdoor kitchen, but the Lobos had been so delighted that she could make them talismans that kept witches from controlling them with magic that they'd overachieved. Having since made the talismans for the whole pack, Morgan didn't feel quite as guilty about accepting all the free work. As Amar had assured her many times, it was more than a fair trade. "I collected those items from Wolfwood on my walks with Lucky," Morgan added. "I'm taking pictures of anything that seems unusual and isn't in my witch database. I'm hoping I can find someone in the coven who knows what they are and can teach me." Ever since Pedro had warned Amar that someone dangerous from their past had been spotted in the area, Morgan had worried that more trouble would befall them. The more she could learn, the more capable a witch she could become, and the more she could help Amar if necessary. "One of the toadstools is glowing," Shawn said. "Yes, Wolfwood is full of magical stuff. That's why the witches want it left alone and not turned over to a developer. I got the water for that coffee from a mystical spring in the woods that Grandma believed had rejuvenating properties." Horror blossomed on Shawn's face as she gaped down at her half-consumed beverage. "The water from my coffee is laced with bird poop, algae, and coyote urine,"